Hey y'all, and good morning. Well, I'm up bright and early because I'm super excited. Today is day 2 of our 4-part series of this backyard makeover because it is in a mess here in the middle of August. It's been super hot, super rainy, and everything is super tired. So today we're going to be working on my skinny side little pool garden, is what I like to call it. And I got this first inspiration from Pinterest when we first moved here. And let me show you what that picture looks like. So it had this inspiration with these beautiful grasses and these beautiful flowers. And that's what I wanted to create beside our pool. So we removed all of the rocks, and that is how we got started. So after we removed all the rocks, we went ahead and put in these pink muhly grasses, and then we came in and put in the little lime punch. Now this little lime punch is only a year old because we had the first one to die. So that is the size of that one. But then over here, as you walk down a little further, this is the one that we put in the first year. So this one is 2 years old. So they don't grow very fast. They're a little bit slower growing of hydrangea. And then I just kind of filled in as we kind of went around. I wanted to do lots of purple. So we have the catmint. That's the cat's pajamas. We have the pink with the pink muhly grass. And this one will start to kind of feather out in September. It's starting right now. And then we have the autumn joy sedum. And then I started adding in some lamb's ear, some Shasta daisies, which are really pretty. And we have more of the catmint along the back. So this is what we're going to be cleaning up today. You can see we have some really brown blossoms from our little lime punch because we stay so humid here. We don't get cool at night. Ours don't get that pretty pink like they would in cooler climates. And then we also have some little snapdragons that I had popped in there. I need to get that cleaned out. We have a weed that is just looking so crazy. So we just need to do some general cleanup in this area. Eventually my end, like what I'm kind of seeing vision, is I would like to have some kind of arbor right here. So that's why I'm leaving this area open. And I think that would be really pretty with maybe some kind of pretty rose, maybe a pink rose trailing up it or a peach colored rose. And we need to do some cleanup down here. These are the dahlias that I grew from seed last year, and they've just not really done anything at all. So I've been kind of disappointed in that. Now the lavender that I grew from seed is doing really beautiful. So really excited about those. So let's get in here and clean up this skinny pool garden. I'm going to start here with this Shasta daisy first and go ahead and cut off all of the old blooms on it. So just want to kind of cut those off right there. Yesterday we started off with our cottage garden. So if you haven't watched that, then go back and watch that because that was a really neat transformation. And I did something that I wouldn't think that I would do. So you'll have to watch that and see what I did because I think it looks really good. So these daisies are really pretty in the early part of the summer, but then I don't know, for me, they just kind of look kind of dull. So I think that's where it would be kind of nice to have in some more annuals, maybe tucking an annual here or around here. I think that would look really nice to kind of add a little bit more color. Also, this cat's pajamas catmint, it doesn't do the best. So I had it up front and I thought it was getting too much water. Now I have it back here. It doesn't do as well as the Walker's Low Catmint. Um, the Walker's Low Catmint just is very vigorous, and this Cat's Pajamas by Proven Winners is just not good for me. I don't know if we're just too wet. It may be that. Maybe we're just too wet. But I always cut it back after its first flush of blooms, and then it just kind of looks kind of scraggly. So I definitely need to work on more annuals for next year in this bed. I think that would help tremendously to add a little bit more color because it kind of just looks very tired right now. Some of these weeds in here have gotten as big as trees. Oh my goodness, look how big that weed is. full of seeds too. Oh my, mercy me. Mercy, mercy. I try to keep this pruned out. I like to come through in the evenings, not pruned, but weeded, and just kind of pick the weeds. But some of them kind of hide from you until they get bigger. Oh my goodness. This looks like an old swamp weed. Look at that one. That one is huge. One thing that did not do well for me was the dianthus that I planted, that I grew from seed. And I've never really done well with dianthus. Oh no, I accidentally pulled up a catmint. This is the Walker's Low. Maybe what I should do is plant this some in the front and see how it would do compared to that cat's pajamas. Because I got a nice root on it. I didn't mean to pull that up. I was trying to get that weed out. Let's put it in the ground though. See if it would do better than this. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'll put it over here. I don't have my shovel with me. And I'll put a little water on it, but there you go. Propagating. I didn't mean to pull out that Walker's Low catmint, but we'll see how it does. Look how much bigger that little chunk is compared to that. This catmint here, the cat's pajamas, that's 2 years old. And it just looks like nothing. It looks like it's just kind of fading away. Okay, so this is our little lime punch hydrangea. And I am going to go ahead and cut off this bloom because this one's like totally brown. I got a little lavender in here. I've done pretty good growing lavender from seed. I could cut these back. I might cut this one back. The ones that look really bad. You don't have to cut them back. You can leave them if you want to. But I felt like they were kind of like pressing on this lamb's ear too. But this lamb's ear, see, it gets all these leaves that are just nasty and curled up underneath here and just dead. But this is one that I just took a little clipping from my other ones and have been propagating them. So I only bought originally, I think it was 3 lamb's ear, and then I've just been propagating them around the garden. You just pull off a little chunk of the root, kind of like I did with that Walker's Low catmint, and then you just tuck it in the ground. Sometimes it'll look like it kind of wilts after you first do it, but then it just kind of pops right back. Lamb's ear is a little bit creepy to me. It feels creepy to your hands. I know some people like the softness. I like the softness, but when it starts to get like brown and matted, it feels, I don't know, it makes me, it's kind of disgusting. I don't know, it makes me think of like I'm touching a bat. I'm always scared that I'm going to touch a bat. One of our houses, we had a bathroom window that was so bad about getting bats. Oh my goodness, guys. Look at this. Look at this snail. Ah! That thing is huge. Not a slug, but a snail. Wow, that's why it's good to get in these things. So you can find that stuff. But I kind of feel like that these kind of harbor all the snails and slugs. And then they go out at night and get on your other things. I don't know. I don't know if this is my favorite ground cover. It's pretty, but might be too wet for it. Okay, so this lamb's ear is finished. I did find 2 big snails in it, a big caterpillar. There's all kinds of roly-polies, and ugh, it's just a bunch of yucky stuff in there. But that looks nice and clean now. And then we got our catmint cut back over here, our little daisies, and then cleaned up those big, humongous weeds that we had back there. Oh my goodness. So we just have a lot more to go. To show you how fast the lamb's ear grows, this was a little clump of 3 right here. And look how big it's gotten. It was just like one little individual little clump about that big. And same thing about this one over here. So these were just done last fall. I just popped in like 3 little plants from the big mama plant over there. And that's how big it's gotten. I mean, I love it when it's like clean and it's not burnt looking. I think that looks so pretty, but man, it just gets so brown underneath. But maybe that's just how it is with us being so wet over here. This little daisy here, this is the banana creams. That's the original banana cream. Now they have a banana cream too, and it has a lot bigger flowers on it. So this one kind of has little small flowers on it. It's kind of neat to see how proven winners will take like the banana cream and they'll improve it and make the flowers bigger on the banana cream too. And they're a little bit more yellow as well. I don't think I have one right now that's blooming, but it's kind of neat how they do that. So I think it's supposed to be around 86 degrees today. Yesterday was really nice. Our high was like 80. I think it ended up getting like 82. Um, so definitely a little bit warmer today. And also our humidity is really high. It was at 88% this morning. So whew, super, super humid. But I like to just kind of come in here and either cut or pull off these leaves. But you can see how much you get. Just that one little clump. And now there's more babies growing in here. You could take these off, these like little pups, and plant them somewhere else. And I might try to plant some on my berm to see how they do over there because it stays a little bit drier, and to see if the deer will munch on them or not. I think they're supposed to be deer resistant, but our deer like to eat anything they can get their hands on. This feels a little drier over here, and so there's not as many of these. I think definitely when you stay wetter, it makes them get browner quicker. I see some people with their lamb's ear, it's like in the spring, they just kind of cut it back and it just stays pretty all year. Not us. Oh my goodness, there's a big dead spot in here. Look down in there. Oh my gosh. You see how it's kind of creepy? You put your hand on it. Ugh. Yeah, reminds me of a bat. A little bat curled up in there. Oh, that would give me the heebie-jeebies. It just kind of goes way, way down in there. I feel like I'm at Babyland General picking out a baby out of a cabbage. Oh, gracious. What we do as gardeners so we can have pretty yards. We are crazy people, aren't we? They say they have crazy chicken ladies, but I think we also have crazy gardeners too. Okay, so that's pretty much cleaned out. Okay, so one of the things I'm finding is budworms, and they're in the lamb's ear, and they're also over here in the Shasta daisies. So I need to add these onto my list of things that I'm spraying for budworms because they are getting in here and they're chewing on all of these. And maybe that's why I don't have as many flowers. It's because of that. So this little section is finished. So we're just going to keep going around here. I'm going to work on those snapdragons for a minute and get them kind of cleaned up. I grew these snapdragons from seed, and my whole goal was to have like a little cut flower bed in my kitchen garden, but I ended up just popping them over here. Well, you can definitely see they need support because they're wanting to flop over. Oh, and I do see a little budworm over here. Lovely. So they love the snapdragons too. So budworms are just infesting my garden this year. I don't know if it's, I was reading up on, and they say they're like a tobacco worm. Well, last year we had a lot of tobacco fields around our house, but this year they did corn. So they kind of do like crop rotations. So maybe the bud worms or the tobacco worms decided to come into my yard since they didn't have all of those tobacco plants. That's just my hypothesis. I don't know if it's that true or not, but who knows? It's interesting to see which ones they like to nibble on. So we have petunias, snapdragon, daisies. I guess I need to plant things they don't like. So I let the chickens in here yesterday, and man, they were really scratching here in this area and then also underneath the roses. They were finding a lot of little things to eat. I wish they would get in here and eat the budworm so they don't eat our plants. Look how pretty this is. So pretty. I love snapdragons. These are the ones that are more the late season. So you can get ones that are more spring, and these will tolerate the heat more. So there's different like levels of snapdragons. I definitely want to do those again next year. So the alliums that I split are doing really well. Look how the size of that one. It's gotten really, really big. So I had one pot of the serendipity allium, and then I broke it into like 19 pieces, and it's doing really good. I did that back in the spring. And now what I'm thinking is that now that I see that some of them may be a little too close to other plants, like I could pop this one up here and I could move it somewhere else. So when our temperatures kind of cool down a little bit, I'll probably be transplanting a lot of those alliums over there on our new berm. One thing I'm noticing over here in this section is we've got some ants around my little flower pot here, so I need to get those treated. And this amazing daisy over here is looking pretty raggedy. Let's go ahead and deadhead this geranium while we're over here. The budworms have also been affecting my geraniums, so I've been having to keep those sprayed. I'm kind of doing a rotation of neem oil and BT. So one week I'll do the neem oil, and then the next week I do the BT. Just to try to keep a handle on them because they're pretty bad. This also looks like it's got some aphids on it. That's on the New Look Dusty Miller. Found a lot of aphids yesterday on a plant that I just never would have thought would have had aphids. So you'll have to check that out to see our part one. I was super surprised. When I deadhead, I just like to go all the way back to the main stem, cut those back. Trying to be careful not to get in those ants. The budworms just chew up these geranium blossoms. This is so crazy, guys. So you know they usually have poop. Look at the poop. Instead of black, because they've been eating all that pink, their poop is pink. Is that not crazy? Pink poop. Because you guys have been eating my geraniums. So horrible. I've kind of experimented with these New Look Dusty Millers this year. I don't know if I like them as much as the other Dusty Miller. Their leaves just tend to burn because they're so thick. Maybe if I had them in a more protected, shady spot. And there's lots of pests are eating on them too. where you don't see that as much as the other ones, because the other ones have like the really slender leaves. These have these big leaves and they get these big holes in them. So the verdict's still out on that one if I like it or not. But it is fun growing stuff from seed. The sun is starting to creep more and more on us as we go along. Kind of nice working out here in the mornings, but then when things start to heat up around this concrete, it gets super hot. So last year I brought in some of my dried little lime punch hydrangeas. Well, I cut them and I let them dry inside the house, and they're still really pretty. I should have done that before they turned brown. This catmint's just so spindly, scraggly. So this area is looking a lot more tidier. Do y'all kind of do that where you take your yard in like sections if you have a flower bed? I'll do that. I'll kind of like break it up, like, okay, I'll do 2 sidewalk breaks and then another 2 sidewalk breaks and then go on down. But you can see how well that Walker's Low Catmint is compared to the cat's pajamas. Night and day difference. I think in my yard, the Walker's Low Catmint is definitely going to do better. Even over here, right, there's a Walker's Low Catmint, and the cat's pajamas look, ugh, cat's pajamas just look sad. But I definitely think I need to add more annuals in next year. It just lacks so much color over here. I feel like it's pretty satisfying when you can get in there and cut back all of your spent perennials. I think that makes everything look neat and tidy, fresh, and it gets you out there and lets you know what's going on. Like all of those snails, all of those caterpillars, the ants, those big huge weeds that were hiding out. And it kind of gives you a little bit of time to think about next year. Like, what do you want to see different? Like, I definitely want to see more color here. I'd love to see an arbor with maybe some climbing roses on it. I haven't ever really been a huge like clematis fan, but that might be neat. I've never grown it before. I'm kind of learning the things that I want to maintain and the things I don't want to maintain. Like, I don't know, if that lamb's ear, a lot of maintenance. And also these daisies, having to cut back these daisies. And then they just kind of look green afterwards. It's like, do I really want that? Or do I want something that'll have more color on it? Or less brown? You know, you don't want to look at all this brown all year long. Got a lot of brown in it. I don't know. What do you guys think about daisies? Maybe in an area where they're not front and center, they would be pretty. They are pretty in the spring though. So one of the things that me and Savannah have been talking about is over here, it just looks like we're missing something. There's such a big gap in between this grass and that grass that we really feel like we need to have another little lime punch right here. So I may have to like move that autumn joycetum, but you can see there's such a big gap. We were trying to like line everything up with our gate so we could have like the center gate there. But then it kind of got us a little bit off track with our planting. So we have a little line punch there, and then an autumn joy sedum and a grass. But I feel like we need to have another little line punch right there. So we need to be on the lookout for one of those. Definitely hard to find in our area. This cat's pajama looks like it has just faded into nothing. It's literally not hardly anything here. I've heard people say that about like their heucheras. They'll just kind of like fade into nothing. I definitely think that's what's happening there on that cat's pajamas. So another lesson learned, cat's pajamas doesn't do well in our yard. So maybe you need to do the Walker's Low catmint. Sometimes improved varieties may not necessarily be the best variety for your yard. So we cut back this autumn joy sedum probably about a month ago, just kind of as an experiment, because it was covered in all that like rust and mold or whatever it was, fungus. And so you can see it hasn't put on a lot of growth. That's why I was kind of like hesitant about cutting back the other ones. I'm like, well, we can just look at their yucky petals and but enjoy the beautiful pink. But that's kind of how much it's grown back in just a month. So not very much. So I think for next year, if we have that happen again, that I'll just leave them and just enjoy the pink flowers on top, but not cut them all the way back. Okay, so here's one of the banana cream too. So this is the improved version of the banana cream. But you can see it has more of the yellow, and their flowers are definitely bigger than the other one because the other one is smaller. The foliage all kind of looks the same though, but the flowers are definitely bigger on the banana creams too. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But it's kind of neat to experiment with both of them. These are super easy to propagate as well. You can just kind of go in and cut a little chunk out of it. But I have noticed with these, when I propagate them, I have to keep them really well watered, and it needs to be when it's a little bit cooler. So they propagate better in the early spring or in the fall. So yeah, they're super easy to propagate. A lot of the ones I have in my yard already are from propagations. I think I only bought maybe 3 of them, and I've just propagated them throughout the garden. So if you don't have a lot of money, but you've got a little bit more time, you can definitely propagate your daisies and your lamb's ear, your catmint. This one actually looks like it's kind of fallen off here. Yeah, little piece fell off. And just dig a little hole, pop it in there. See what it does. They get these little brown pieces after you deadhead them. So really when you deadhead them, you need to go all the way back down in that plant instead of just cutting off the bloom. Look over here at this alyssum. So we had alyssum planted near this blueberry last year, and then these alyssum came up from seed. Aren't they beautiful? I've already cut them back once, and they've come back again. They kind of remind me of chamomile a little bit. But remember, guys, once you have alyssum, you'll always have alyssum because they're going to self-seed all over your garden. Okay, so we got 2 buckets from this clean out. So let's go ahead and take that over to our pile, and I'll show you how the chickens are doing this morning. Look how gorgeous the garden is looking. So I've been treating our angelonia for the budworms, and I think we might be getting ready to get some flowers, which I'm super excited about that. I've been treating the petunias as well. So the bedworms have just been super bad this year. Pine straw starting to fall on top of my mulch. I've been working on getting more cardboard spread out and putting more mulch down. And this is where we have our debris right now, all of our garden waste. That was all from yesterday. So lots to clean out. Here's our girls this morning. Okay, let's see if I can remember all their names. Yes, ma'ams. Okay, so this one's Miss Charlotte. She likes to fly high and get out. This is the newest one. This is Miss Dottie. And there is Bluebell. So that is Miss Honey back there. So these three came from my dad's house. He hatched these two from eggs. And this one he got from a neighbor that had hatched them from eggs. No, that was not from yeah, that was from the other person that did the eggs. And then Opal must be in there laying an egg right now. So that's our girls. Hey, girls. Dottie, you're going to be a big girl, aren't you? Yeah. So she was just born in, I think, April. Her and Bluebell. They came from the same incubator. Hey, Miss Charlotte, are you wanting to get out? I know it. You always want to get out. And then Miss Honey, so she lived at my parents' house, and the rooster, well, you can say she was the rooster's best friend. So her feathers are still trying to grow back. But that's why we rescued her, so she didn't have to go through that anymore. Because we don't have any roosters anymore. All right, girls, let me get back to work and show our friends our flower bed. Okay, so let's start over here in the beginning. So not as big of a transformation as we had yesterday on part 1, but it does make me feel really good knowing we got 2 buckets of debris out of here and just things that were kind of bothering me, things that needed to be cut back and weeded. So you know how when you get something weeded, you're just like, ah, you can just breathe, and stuff that you see every time you walk by, you're like, I just want to get that taken out of here. I just love this lavender. So pretty. So we got all of that done, and it's looking so much better, so much cleaner. Yes, and it can just make me sigh just a good relief getting all of that done. So for next year, I definitely want to add in more annuals. So me and Savannah have been talking about that. Maybe some lantana, maybe some vincas that we've never tried here. Maybe try to get some things that budworms don't eat. And so that'll be a lot easier for us to maintain, because you have to be realistic with yourself. How much time and effort do you want to have to maintain these things? But I hope this video today gave you some inspiration. If you are needing to do a little garden refresh, then definitely get out there and do like I did and break it up into zones. Makes it so much easier on your body, and it's kind of like satisfying that way to see how much you can get done in each day. And you don't want to kill yourself. We still are getting hot here in August, but we want our gardens to be nice and healthy as we go into fall as well. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you have a chance to get in your gardens today. Thanks for gardening with me. Bye, friends.